Mommy, I can't fix it. The little girl's voice cracked as she stared helplessly at her bike, the front tire mangled, the chain limp like her hopes of ever riding again. Her scraped knees stung, but it was the disappointment that hurt more. That Saturday morning, she had convinced her mother to let her ride to the park, just like the big kids, with her shiny helmet and new bell. But not even 10 minutes in, she hit a rock, fell hard, and the wheel twisted beneath her. She tried not to cry, brushing dirt off her knees and pushing her tangled curls out of her eyes as she sat on the curb near an old, run-down auto shop at the edge of the neighborhood. The garage was closed, or so she thought, until the sound of clanking metal and the low hum of music from inside hinted that someone was there. She peered in, nervously, clutching her broken bike like a wounded pet. That's when she saw him, a man in grease-streaked overalls, sleeves rolled up, arms strong and tan from years of hard work, whistling softly as he tightened bolts on a truck engine. She took a shaky step forward. Excuse me, sir," she called, voice barely above a whisper. The man looked up, startled, then softened when he saw her teary eyes. "Well, hey there, little miss," he said, setting his wrench down. "What's going on?" She blinked fast, embarrassed. "My bike's broken. I don't know what to do. I really wanted to ride today." He walked toward her, wiping his hands on a rag. "Let me take a look." She stepped back shyly, her small hands gripping the handlebars. "Is it really broken forever?" she asked. The mechanic crouched down beside the bike, inspecting it. "Nope, not forever," he said with a wink. "Just needs a little love." The little girl let out a breath she didn't know she was holding. "Can you fix it?" He looked at her, then at the busted chain and bent rim. "How about this? I show you how to fix it. Deal?" Her eyes widened. "Really? You'll teach me?" He grinned. "Absolutely." What she didn't see, what neither of them saw, was a sleek black car parked across the street, tinted windows rolled down just enough for a woman to watch, breath caught in her throat. The woman was tall, elegant, with a crisp white blouse and sharp black heels. She was on her way to a high-stakes board meeting, Bluetooth in her ear, laptop open on the passenger seat, until she saw her daughter alone with a stranger at a garage. She slammed the laptop shut, turned off her Bluetooth, and watched. Ready to intervene, ready to shout, but she didn't. Not when she saw the way he spoke to her daughter. Not when she saw how gently he guided her tiny hands. Not when she saw the patience in his eyes, the steady way he explained how gears worked, how the chain looped around, how pressure made wheels turn. For the next hour, the little girl beamed. She asked questions. She learned to tighten the bolts. She laughed when grease got on her nose. The mechanic handed her a rag. "That's the mark of a real fixer," he joked. "Grease on your face and pride in your heart." The mother's eyes stung unexpectedly. She didn't even realize she was holding her breath. This man, this stranger, was giving her daughter something rare. Something she hadn't seen in a long time. Time, attention, gentle strength. Her heart twisted. Her daughter's father left when she was just a baby, chasing investments overseas, too busy for birthdays or broken bikes. And she, the CEO of one of the top tech companies in the state, had spent her days in meetings, hotels, and airports, trying to do it all. But in this moment, she saw something she could never program into a tablet or offer in a boardroom. She saw care. She saw kindness. She saw a man who didn't know he was being watched, and didn't need to be. When the bike was fixed and the little girl took her first wobbly ride around the block, the mechanic clapped. "You did it, all by yourself," she giggled, triumphant. "Well, not all by myself." Then she paused and looked up at him. "Can I come again if it breaks?" He chuckled. "You're always welcome, little mechanic." As she rode off, wind in her curls, the woman in the car opened her door and stepped out, crossing the street slowly. The mechanic was gathering tools, not noticing her until her heels clicked against the pavement. He turned. His eyes met hers. He froze. "Oh," he said, eyes narrowing slightly in confusion. "Can I help you, ma'am?" She tilted her head slightly. "Actually, I think you already have." He looked more confused. "That little girl you helped," she said softly. "She's my daughter." His face changed. "Oh, I didn't know. I just saw she was upset and thought maybe I could help." The woman smiled, something rare and warm. "You did more than help. You gave her confidence. You made her feel seen." He rubbed the back of his neck, suddenly awkward. "I didn't do much, just showed her how a chain works. Sometimes," she said, "the smallest things make the biggest difference." He nodded. Well, she's a smart kid. She is, the woman said, glancing back at the bike rolling down the sidewalk. I'm just sorry I wasn't the one to show her how to fix it. The mechanic looked at her then, his gaze steady. Maybe, you were the one who gave her the courage to ask for help. The words hit her in a place she didn't expect. Her throat tightened. She looked away, hiding the emotion. What's your name? She asked. Jake, he said. And yours? She extended a hand. Maya. Maya Kingston. His brow furrowed slightly, as if the name tugged at a memory. You work nearby. She paused. Sort of. I run Kingston Tech. His eyes widened. You're that Maya Kingston? She nodded. CEO, 3 years now. He looked stunned. Wow, I wouldn't have guessed. She smiled. Most people don't. They stood in silence for a beat. Then Maya looked back toward her daughter, now circling back. She really liked you. I think you made her day. Jake smiled gently. She made mine too. The sun was dipping low, casting golden shadows over the cracked pavement. The air smelled like oil, metal, and summer grass. Maya hesitated. Would you ever be open to teaching her again? Maybe. Saturdays. I could pay you, of course. Jake looked down at his tools, then back up. You don't have to pay me. Please, she said softly. I want to. He met her eyes. I'll teach her. But not because of money. Because she reminded me why I started fixing things in the first place. Maya blinked fast. The emotions in her chest were overwhelming. Gratitude, guilt, admiration. Thank you, she whispered. Her daughter ran up just then, skidding to a stop. Mommy, he fixed it, and I helped. Maya knelt down, brushing her fingers through her daughter's curls. I saw, baby, I'm so proud of you. Jake smiled at both of them. Same time next week, the little girl squealed. Yes please. As they turned to walk away, Maya glanced back once more, heart thudding in her chest. She had built an empire, but today, she saw something stronger than profits or power. She saw a man who could fix more than machines. He could fix hearts, without even knowing it. And maybe, just maybe, she would let him fix hers too. Right finger if you felt something real in this story, if kindness, humility, and unexpected human connection still move your heart. Please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel for more touching, unforgettable stories just like this. The second chapter is just getting started. Jake didn't expect to see them again so soon, especially not like this. It was Wednesday afternoon, the sun was just beginning to sink low behind the rusted rooftops, and the mechanic was halfway through replacing a carburetor on a beat-up Dodge pickup when a sleek black car pulled into the dusty lot. The contrast between the polished chrome and the cracked asphalt was sharp, like silk brushing against sandpaper. He stood up, wiping his hands, brows furrowed as the door opened. Out stepped the little girl, bright pink helmet on her head again, but this time, she wasn't holding her bike. She was holding a small box wrapped in blue paper. And behind her, just as composed and radiant as before, was her mother, Maya Kingston, the same woman who'd left him quietly stunned a few days ago. Jake, the little girl called with glee, running toward him. Hi, guess what? Hey there, little mechanic, Jake said, his voice warm. What's in the box? Cupcakes. Mommy baked them. The little girl beamed. She said we should say thank you with sugar. Jake chuckled. I like the way she thinks. Maya stepped forward, her heels clicking gently, but her face softer than it had been before. We just wanted to stop by and thank you again. She hasn't stopped talking about fixing the chain. Are you? Jake cleared his throat, touched. You didn't have to bring anything. Really? I know, Maya said, placing the box gently on the workbench beside him. But sometimes people deserve more than a thank you. They deserve to know they made a difference. He looked at her. The way her eyes held his, calm, intelligent, appreciative, something stirred deep in his chest. You make that a habit? He asked quietly. What? Making people feel seen. Maya smiled. Only the ones who deserve it. For a moment, the auto shop didn't feel dusty or forgotten. It felt alive, like something was changing. Growing. The little girl tugged on Jake's sleeve. Mommy said maybe I could come this Saturday even if my bike's not broken. Can I still help? Jake grinned. Of course. We've got all sorts of things you can learn to fix. Yay. She jumped. Maya laughed, the sound melodic and unguarded. Jake looked at her again, really looked, and saw not just a CEO or a successful woman, but someone tired. Someone who had held it all together for so long, and maybe, just maybe, needed someone to lean on too. The next Saturday became a routine. Every weekend, the little girl showed up in her helmet, and together she and Jake replaced bolts, pumped tires, and tested brake pads. Maya often stayed too, at first in the car, then sitting on the stoop with coffee in hand, sometimes even helping Jake hold parts or pass tools. She began asking questions, about engines, about machines, about him. Slowly, without realizing it, Jake found himself telling her things he hadn't told anyone in years. How he used to race cars before his brother died in a wreck. How he left everything behind and opened the shop because fixing things helped him breathe again. How he'd once dreamed of teaching kids mechanics, but gave up after the funding fell through. And Maya, she listened, really listened. "You know," she said one evening, her daughter fast asleep in the backseat of her car, "you could still teach. I know people, I could help set something up, sponsorship, maybe even a youth program." Jake shook his head. "I'm just a guy with a wrench." She reached out, gently touching his hand. "You're not just anything." His heart raced. "Why are you being so kind to me?" "Because," Maya whispered, "you were kind when you didn't have to be. And I haven't seen a man look at my daughter like that since, ever. You see her, and you respect her. That matters." Jake swallowed hard. "What about you?" She looked away for a moment, then back. "No one's really seen me in a long time either." That was the turning point. The moment something unspoken bloomed in the space between them. Weeks passed. The little girl kept learning. Maya kept visiting. Jake kept fixing. But one Saturday, everything shifted. Maya didn't show up. Her daughter did, but she was with someone else. A nanny. "Where's your mom?" Jake asked gently. She said she had a big meeting. Super important. He nodded, but something in his gut twisted. That night, no call. No text. No Maya. The next week, same thing. She didn't come. Didn't call. By the third week, Jake was restless. Hurt. Worried. He stood at the workbench, rubbing oil from his palms when the door finally creaked open, and there she was. Maya. Except not like he remembered. Her eyes were puffy, her posture tense. She looked like someone who hadn't slept. "I'm sorry," she said before he could speak. "I should have called." Jake approached her carefully. "What happened?" "My board. They found out I was considering using company funds to start a youth mentorship program, through your shop. They said it was too personal. That it was unprofessional, even reckless. They threatened to vote me out if I didn't back down." Jake stared at her. "You were fighting for me. For you. For the kids. For something that mattered." Her voice broke. "But I let them win." I stepped back. Jake was silent for a moment, then took a deep breath. "You know what I've learned, Maya." She looked at him, waiting. "You can't fix people who don't want to be fixed. But you can build something better with the ones who do." Her eyes shimmered. "I want to be one of those people, Jake." He stepped closer. "Then don't give up, even if it costs me everything. Sometimes the things worth building cost the most. But they last." She looked at him like she was seeing him all over again, for who he really was. "Jake, what if I walked away from all of it? The company, the chaos, the pressure. What if I just started over? Then I'd say," he whispered, reaching for her hand, "let me help you rebuild." And that was it. Not a kiss. Not a grand gesture. Just two people who saw each other. Who taught a little girl how to ride. Who taught each other how to love. From that day on, the shop became more than a garage. It became a place where single mothers, tired fathers, and curious kids came to learn not just how to fix broken things, but how to heal. Maya and Jake ran the mentorship program together. The little girl became a local celebrity, known as the tiny mechanic with a CEO mom and a heart of gold. And every time someone asked how it all began, Maya would smile and say, "It started with a broken bike and a man who didn't know anyone was watching." Right finger if this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that kindness never goes unnoticed, and that love sometimes grows from the quietest corners, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs a little hope today. Your support helps us bring more emotional, powerful stories to life. Heart.